Alright, there are several ways in which you can increase your search rankings on YouTube, the view time that people spend, watching your videos, the engagement you get in the comments, the number of likes you get, and all of those metrics that are really important if your video is gonna send signals to the algorithm that it is of high quality. What I'm gonna do in this video is I'm gonna go through 10 ways in which you can improve your video or edit your video in a way that people stay longer, engage more, and do all those things that are fantastic to send those signals to the YouTube algorithm. Number 1, video introduction. So the number one thing you need to do is what we just did there, is to introduce the context into which your video exists. And you need to do that within the first 5 to 10 seconds. Now either you can do this by solving a problem and then you can go, have you ever? Or you can focus on what kind of need you are meeting. And then you can start it with, do you sometimes feel like? Or you can, consider something like, who would be watching? And then you go, you go with the, what happens if I continue watching? And that can be like a cutout of something that happens later in the video. Or something such as that. So those 4 ways are really good ways at starting a video and introducing the context. So you're essentially saying hello to whoever you want to be watching your video. Number 2, the promise. The second thing is that you give your user a promise. If you haven't seen my videos on the conversion formula yet, I think you should be, clicking that card that, pops out right now. See, the user always thinks, what's in it for me? They've got the motivation already because they clicked the button. They clicked the play button or they clicked your thumbnail. So they're motivated to watch whatever it is that you sort of hinted to them. Now you need to give them something extra. What is in it for me? The thumbnail does that, yes, but then you need to reiterate that in the words in the beginning of your video in order to make people stay and continue watching. If your video is long, it's important to continuously remind them of this promise. One of the worst cases of this was that I watched an abs video for 17 minutes just because I got promised. In just a few moments, I will tell you how 6 things you can do at home will get you perfect abs. I just continued watching that forever, or in 17 minutes. And it was just because he constantly reminded me that that was the thing that was gonna happen, and you get the point out. Number 3, your intro should be short. If you have an intro, you should not run it more than 5 to 7 seconds. It should not be a 30-second intro, blah, 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 blah. No one really cares.
Never mind.
But it's there to bring in the tempo for the rest of the video. So if you have an intro that is really upbeat, then the rest of your video needs to be really upbeat because that needs to sort of match. If you have a high tempo and then a very low energy person sitting there, that will not work. So it's important that it's a short intro and that it sets the tempo for the rest of the video. If you do it mellow, then have a mellow intro. That's perfectly fine. But if those are in contrast with each other, that does not work. Number 4, remember to talk until you're done and not a second longer, but not shorter than that either. The 4th thing is to talk until you're done. It's very important that you continue talking until you are done and not a second longer than that. Use the editing in order to cut away every single thing that shouldn't be there. But don't make your video shorter just because you want to make it short. There is no rule to have a 30-second to 3-minute long video anymore. People will watch 2-hour videos if they make sense all the way, if they build new things all the way through. I believe that a lot of times this is where we go wrong. We think that there is a actual, length, or that people want to, only watch snippets, but they don't. They want to see a full content that explains exactly what it is they wanted to see. Number 5, the pace is important. Speak faster than you normally do. I'm not telling you to speak like this, speak really, really fast, and then people will stop listening because they can't hear what you're saying. But I'm telling you that you should probably take a walk or jump up and down before you sit down in front of the camera. No one really wants to watch someone who is speaking slowly. Slowly. And if you speak in your normal tone of voice, you will sound as though you're speaking slowly, because people aren't able to pause a person in reality, so we tend to speak slower in order to make sure that everyone hears what we're gonna say. But here on YouTube, you should really try to speak faster than you do normally, because otherwise people might want to switch to another channel. Maybe you don't trust me, but trust me, if you look at the differences between people who speak fast and people who speak slow, those who speak slow need to have such a higher quality of content in order to make, you know, the same kind of numbers as those who speak fast. So please speak fast, or faster than you normally do at least. Number 6, tone down the background music. This is for me to remember, because what I've done with probably all of my videos is that I have increased the volume of the background music, and that's a big problem because people always complain about that. So if you have background music, tone it down. I know you like that song, that's why you put it on there, but you know, and I'm talking to myself right now, let's tone down that background music. The only purpose to have that background sound is to keep people in the good spirit and the mood of that intro that you just threw in their face. Keep the tempo up, keep the spirit in there, make everyone feel something. Number 7, use text cues. In order to keep the user there and their attention there, please remind them where you've been and where they're going. I mean, add one of these bullet lists to just show them that we started there and now we're there. I hope I got that right. What happens is that they will be able to follow along and they will probably know how much more there is to watch, and so they will stay for the full duration of the video. Number 8, use sound effects. Use sound effects in order to keep the mood going of the clip, and just make sure that any change that is sudden in the video has some kind of sound effect to make sense of that change. I mean, if I would change from, you know, here, so now what can you do? Then I probably have to explain that somehow. I mean, you can emphasize anything with a good sound effect. Humor, boring, you did a mistake, you know. People like that stuff. Number 9, cut that out. Remove all ums, pauses, and clean breaks. There are so many occasions where you just start being quiet, just like I did there, but I cut it away so you didn't really hear it. The thing here is to keep the tempo going, not to pause one single bit until the video is completely done. And there will be breaks that will be really uneven, like this to this. And of course, you need to probably put some B-roll over that in order to make that change so that it's smooth, a smooth transition. But I strongly suggest that you rather cut it down and it will look a little bit choppy than you do it the other way around, where you have a lot of ums. And production wise, if you're gonna produce YouTube videos every day, it will take too much time to sit and retake and retake and retake. Just do one take, and then, you know, you cut it down, and that will make much more sense to the users. Put B-roll over it, and B-roll is this kind of roll, like this kind of video that you're watching right now, where you just hear me talking in the background and you can't really see the breaks. Use that if you have problem with editing. Otherwise, you know, then just people are used to having these chopped videos now, so do that instead. Number 10, the cutting. It's important to do that, and it's important to zoom in, to use all of those effects that you have. Don't overdo it, because then it would just be freakish. But have some kind of movement in your camera most of the time. Even though you have a still camera, there are ways in which you can slide it from right to left, from left to right, and just keep that momentum going so that the user do not feel like there is too much time, too boring to watch, and those things. Right, so those were the 10 things that I suggest that you do in your video, or you at least think of them. Sometimes you cannot manage to get all 10 of them in there because it doesn't fit the format of what you're shooting or what you're filming. But think about these 10 things when you are creating your video in order to make sure that it is the most appropriate content as possible to the visitors or the viewers that you have. Continue having a nice day, and remember to hit that like button or make a comment, a kind comment. Don't hit the dislike button, it took a long while to record this. So let's do this. So yeah, let's try to do this. So if you are like me, eat pizza. So yeah, that's what we are. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do right now.